Hey, SongTown, I'm Clay Mills here today with Marty Dodson.
Woohoo!
Marty, I got an email this morning from someone, and I thought it would be a great segue into talking about how not to burn bridges when you're a songwriter.
Awesome. I've got some stories to tell. I'm sure you do as well.
You've burned bridges before?
Maybe. I've had my bridge burned and I've burned a few, maybe.
Yeah. So this member who will go nameless, I'm sure he doesn't mind me talking about, because this was a great learning experience for him. But he was talking about, he sent a song, he had an opportunity to pitch a song to a band. And so he sent them the song. They loved it. And their response was, hey, we want to work this up live and then possibly record it if it goes well in our live shows. And so he emailed me and he was all thrilled and he was like, well, is there anything I should know or do? What's going to happen? I was like, no, that's fine. Just, they're going to play the song. If they like it, they'll record it. And at that point, you can talk about licenses and that kind of stuff. But then about 10 minutes later, he emails me and he goes, well, I was thinking they're a Southern rock band. Maybe I should pitch this to better Southern rock bands. And so I emailed him back. And I'm sure you've got some thoughts about this too. Well, let me just get your thoughts on that, first of all.
So it's on hold for the first band.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, when that's the case, what I do is if I'm going to still pitch it while I'm waiting, I tell the second people, hey, they've got kind of first right of refusal on it.
Right.
So that they know, and they're not going to find out later that I'm going to tick off one side or the other, So I just make sure I'm up front of like, hey, this is on hold for this group. If you're interested, I'll go see if for sure they're going to do it. And I'll call the first band and go, hey, I've got another opportunity with this song, so you need to let me know whether you're going to cut it.
Yeah, and so that's basically what I said too, is that when you pitch a song, you pitch it to somebody with the idea if they like it, then they get to record that song. And his response was, well, what if I tell them to send me the live recording, and if I like it, I'll let them record it. Marty rolled his eyes in case you didn't see that. And so what's the problem with that? Why shouldn't he put them on notice that maybe he'll let them have the song?
Well, I think I have had songs cut by artists and they did a presentation that I didn't like or whatever, but that's on them. That's their, and see, I don't know. That's kind of like saying, to me, I wouldn't have pitched it to that band if I had not been confident that they were going to do a good job with my song.
Right. So you should only pitch songs to people that you respect and you think they'll do a good job.
Yeah.
If not, don't pitch it. And then he was like, well, maybe I should start off with bigger artists. And I was like, okay, well, there's a strategy. Start with the biggest artist. If they don't cut the song, then work your way down the food chain. Now that's a strategy, but there's gonna be a lot of hurt feelings if you email somebody and go, well, I know I pitched you the song and you love it, but I'm not sure I want you to have it until you show me that you can do it live and it sounds good enough for me. That's just the way to burn bridges. It could piss them off to the point where they're not going to record your song.
Right.
That's a possibility. It just kind of creates bad feelings. So first rule, if you're pitching a song, make sure you're okay with that band liking the song and cutting it.
Right.
And I know it's, in this instance, it was his first hold. The first time a band said, I like your song, I want to record it. So he's thinking, well, maybe I could have done better, And so it's not really the way that it's not good business practice.
Well, it's kind of like going, oh, there's a beautiful girl over there. I wonder if she would go out with me. And you ask her and she says yes. And you go, oh, well, maybe I could get a prettier girl.
Right.
You're going to hurt the first one.
Or you ask someone to marry you and then you see someone down the street and you're like, oh, wow, she's funnier and prettier. Oh, yeah, see you later. Like you're going to create some hard feelings.
Right.
And then if the next girl doesn't like you, you can't go back to the first one.
Right. Because you burned the bridge.
You burned the bridge.
Yeah.
So what's your story about?
Oh, man, I've got several. early in my career, one thing I did was an A&R guy told me I could bring him a few songs, and I took him a CD with like, there's probably 20 songs on there. And he looked at it and he was like, brother, I'm not listening to an hour's worth of your music. I volunteered to listen to a couple. And he's like, if you think this is going to work, and he just kind of threw it back to me. And I never got to pitch to that guy again. So that's one, because I was not being respectful of his time.
Yeah.
You know, it takes a long time to listen to 20 songs.
Yeah.
You know?
And part of your job, I think, as a songwriter is, if someone says, send me your best couple of songs, it's your job to figure out what songs you should send them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes SongTown members will say to me, well, what if I send them 10 and then they can decide which are the best two? And it's like, that's not what they asked. And so you have to kind of know what your job as a songwriter is. If a manager of an artist likes something, he says, hey, send me a few more songs, you send 3 more songs. You don't send 30 songs.
Right.
You know?
Even if you have 30 you think would work, you send the best 3, and you hope that he says, oh, send me more. You know?
Exactly.
I had an artist one time, kind of that scenario, and eventually he goes, do you have like a song space link to your whole catalog? I would just like to listen through your catalog. And I'm like, sure, but you never would do that on the front end, you know?
Yeah.
Another thing I did was, there was a guy, and I won't say the title because I don't want him to hear this podcast and know for sure this is him, but he threw out this title, and I just didn't like it at all. And he loved it. I mean, really loved it. And he like, I've been saving this for you. And I kept like trying to real nicely go, hey, I don't really like that, you know, can we find something else? And he was like, no. So we started, and I'm just hating it. And you know, it's hard to put a lot of energy into something you're not liking. So I was trying, and we got about halfway through and we had to go for the day. And so then he kept calling me to hey, let's get back and finish that song. And I would book a date, and then I would find a reason to cancel that date. And eventually I ghosted him to the point that he was just like, forget this guy. And that was really immature way to handle it. You know, I should have just stood up for myself and said, I do not like this song. You can go write it with somebody else.
Yeah.
But I want to find something we both love. And we would have been fine. You know, we would probably still be writing today because he was a great guy and a great writer. But because I didn't communicate, and I think that's what causes a lot of bridge burning in the business is like, you know, somebody pitches a song to this independent artist, and the other writer had an opportunity to get it to Tim McGraw, you mentioned a while ago. And so they're like, wait, before we could even pitch it to Tim McGraw, like we talked about, you gave it to your cousin Lenny or, you know, whoever it might be. And so, you know, just that kind of communication about what's going to happen with the song when you get done with it. And let's all agree on that. Like, you know, we all agree that if we get a major label artist cut, everybody's going to be happy. But if we're going to pitch it to other places, we need to talk about that, you know, kind of thing. So some crazy things can happen in co-writes.
If you guys have any situations you struggle with, Marty and I are always available. Clay at songtown.com, Marty at songtown.com. We answer a lot of questions for our members daily. So email us anytime. We'd love to help you out. Hope this episode helped you. Like, comment, subscribe, do the deal, and we'll see you next time. Oh, before we go.
Who's our sponsor?
We have a sponsor, Sweetwater. It's where I get all my gear. It's where Marty gets his gear. They love songwriters. They've been very supportive of the show. So thank you, Sweetwater.
Absolutely. And communicate with those co-writers.
Yes. Cheers.